Welcome to the Squad Games Podcast. Squad Games Podcast.
So today I tried a new Mexican restaurant and they had some bomb-ass salsa.
They did.
Yeah.
I know because I ate there too.
Yeah. Are you guys a fan of salsas?
I am.
Yeah, love me a good salsa.
Oh, yeah. It was surprisingly spicy. I don't know what it was. I want to say it was like a roasted salsa of some sort. It was awesome.
I'm pretty sure it was just salsa, but it was good.
But it's roasted. It was darker.
I mean, Giacomo knows his salsas better than I do, so I'll defer to him, But welcome to the Squad Games Podcast.
Yeah.
Today we're here to talk about is to be classified or to be declassified as a tournament, right?
That is the question.
It is the question. We have two excellent guests with us today. They are both the largest United States TOs that have never been working with GW whatsoever, right? Not in GW's pocketbook, never been paid, including us, right? So we have Tyler.
What's up?
From Kill Team Cascadia. They run majors in the Pacific Northwest. And then we have Matt Howell, who just finished. Is this your third or fourth stint of Nova?
Technically third, but the first one I actually didn't make it to because I got COVID like 2 days before it.
Oh.
See, Giacomo couldn't make it to the last AVTT because he had COVID, and I'll never let him live it down.
Nope.
I watched it rip through my family and hit me last, of course.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. And that's the one Chris had to.
Yeah, Chris did me a huge, big favor, and he stepped up and ran it, and I can't thank him enough forever for that.
So we have been pretty much the biggest TOs in the third-party space. In fact, I think every other major TO has been snapped up by Games Workshop that at least has run majors, right? So we've run the Las Vegas Open with 131 players last year, looking to break that record again. Tyler, what was your largest event last year?
We did 64 at Killscream 2. So
Amazing, which is huge.
That's really big. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And Matt, this year you have, what was Nova's total count?
Well, we sold 88 tickets and had 77 show up.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
Really good.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of which, I didn't get to say this. I found out who brought the banana bread.
Oh, you did?
To Nova.
Oh,
hell yeah, by the way. And that was Matt.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Hey,
he's a fan of the short, you know?
Yeah. Thank you.
Banana bread. Hell yeah. This year, Tyler, what is Killscream's maximum output, and what do you guys think you're actually going to reach?
Our maximum output is 128. I'd like to see us north of 64 again. We are asking for a lot more, and with the new edition coming, it's kind of a little squirrely. Some people are feeling a little uncertain about it. So we'll see. I think that we'll end up north of 40 on there, which is really solid. It covers our bases. So that's what we really need to see.
And you guys have a golden ticket, right?
Yes, we do. Absolutely.
Heck yeah.
Last
Hell
one
yeah.
on the West Coast. Probably the last event for this edition, I'm going to guess.
Second to last on the West Coast.
Okay.
Yeah, we have SoCal Open 2 weeks after you.
Okay. And you guys are going with this edition regardless of what happens?
We'll have to see when the edition drops. So if the edition drops 2 weeks before or we'll probably say 1 week. If it drops at least 1 week before SoCal Open, we will run the new edition.
Yeah. Since it's coming out in October, and we're the first weekend in October, there's no chance for people to get it unless they were to drop the rules this week sometime. And I don't even think we'd pivot at that point. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's fair.
Give it that hoorah, last hoorah.
I'm hoping that SoCal Open will be on the next edition because it's important for players to get experience and exposed to the next edition before Worlds, right? And especially with Worlds probably being played on the new edition. GW typically has a 1 week span where they wait for people to show up, right? So, or rules to be in effect. So, That's in the end of November, so I would assume so. Now, moving on to the classified and declassified stuff, before we dive into more of our own events and that kind of stuff, there's been a lot of, I think, misinformation running around the internet and people kind of like sounding Gondor's horn, right, for Rohan to come. Ooh, was it for Gondor? For Gondor, right? Wrong game system, but same thing. I've seen a lot of stuff on Facebook. I've seen a lot of stuff on Reddit, and people are just losing their collective minds,
Absolutely.
to say the least.
Yeah.
And Dakotah does not like the classified, declassified stuff. Okay. Squad games, we're a little agnostic because we are just more of a tournament organizing prospect. Just a straight up look at it. Giacomo, how do you feel personally about it?
I think from a competitive perspective, classified is totally fine. You should have rotation because eventually, like, it's just too much to balance. But as long as me as a casual player still gets to play with my toys, so if I still get rules and stuff for the additions, whatever comes up, then that's fine because I'm playing majority of the time casually anyways. So,
Absolutely.
because I'm worried that some people have outrage for that, but they're just kind of worried that their stuff's going to disappear, right? And nobody wants their stuff to disappear, right? Like, we put a lot of time and effort into making those models, so like,
I think that's going to be something like we're going to see a lot of the sentiment of the community. Tyler, how do you feel, and then how does Cascadia feel?
Like everyone, like you said, no one wants to see their models go away. Just like with Compendium, although it's probably good for the game that it's going away. I think that, most serious players agree at this point. People who haven't got their bespoke team for their faction, it sucks for them. But it's
Tyranids.
over a year away. Yeah, exactly. Tyranid.
yeah.
But like it's over a year away. And I can't believe how much has happened in my scene and in Kill Team alone in 1 year. I think that overall the community's pretty positive and thinks it's a good change. Obviously, there's a few dissenters and stuff like that, but
you think classified is a good shape?
I think that like overall, I think that classified isn't necessarily a good change in itself. Losing teams sucks, but rotation of teams is probably healthy for the game when it comes to balancing. I don't think we're quite at the point where we need to eliminate teams, but we'll see in a year. Are we going to run classified events? Who knows? Unless stuff changes drastically with the balance, I don't see why we would eliminate teams from play. It just doesn't make any sense. If they're still good and they're still valid, let's play them. Let people have fun.
Sure. Matt, how do you feel about it?
Yeah, I think, I don't know. I'm agnostic right now. I want to see how it all shakes out, but I definitely think it could be a positive thing. If you kind of what Tyler was saying, if you look at it, I think we have more factions than any miniature game out there. And when you're looking to balance it, I think that's a Herculean task for GW to do. And to be able to say, we're just not going to, you're just not going to be able to play with some of these guys, I think will be probably better for the long term. And also, I look at it also, it's not like you're playing 40K and they're retiring an army that you spent hundreds, maybe $1,000 on it. These are, $65 teams that, 10, 12 models you have to paint. So I don't think there's a huge, workload on us to have to, add a team every couple of years. Heck, most of us, I think here have added, a team at least once a year to what we own.
I think we own
Agreed.
multiples of every team.
And like $65 for a buy-in for 6 years of valid play approximately on a team, that's pretty low, like for a hobby. You can get wild and kit bash and make a, $600 team if you want. You don't have to. No one's forcing you to do that. Do what the hobby compels you to. And this is like a chance. I think it also like, I've seen a lot of people get stuck on one faction. They never move from their only faction. Yeah, exactly. I was thinking of you, Dakotah. Maybe you'll try out something new, paint up something new.
Depends on how good Vet Guard are. If they're dog water, as Kelteam would say, I'll move on.
But like, there's so many fun things to do in it. And like, maybe encouraging people to move on, try new stuff after 3 years of competitive play, 4 years of competitive play. I don't know if that's a bad thing necessarily.
So since everyone's so positive I'm going to be negative.
Okay.
You know, we're going to make this spicy. We're going to make this
devil's advocate.
interesting. That's what I like to do.
Okay.
Right. Now there's a few things that I would say is objectively bad about classified and declassified. And in the end, at the end of this, I'm going to propose an alternative.
Okay.
Okay. For third party events. And every third party is going to be different. We just run the biggest third party events, right? So my negative take is let's look at Hyrotech Circle and let's look at Cascadia. Okay. They were the very first team to be introduced to Kill Team in season 2.
Okay.
Okay. They are currently not on the docket to get axed. Okay. For competitive classified tournaments. Casserkin or Casser Kings or Casser Cants, depending if you watch the show or not, right? Giacomo's a Casser Cant. I'm a Casser King. No matter how bad they actually are, right? Now, I will say that I think Casserkin sucking still after 3 years of being balanced. Okay, sorry, I'm a Casser Cant today. Hyrotech Circle only becoming competitive in the past 6 months of this edition, and now the edition completely changes, and who knows about anything about the team, right? So, like, we had 6 months where Hyrotech has been valid. The issue ultimately stems that the teams are not released as balanced. If each team was released as balanced and you had 4 full years of actually being able to play the team, great. Right? Sometimes when we get the teams, they're only going to be balanced for 2 months. Sometimes they're going to come out super strong and then they're going to get nerfed into the ground. Let's look at Colts. They got nerfed into the ground after what? Three data slates? You know, that's still a long time that they were good, right?
Almost a full year. Yeah.
Yeah. Almost a full year. They were really good. Now they suck. Now no one plays them. If anyone watches Meta Watch, which will come out with one of these episodes eventually when we get a little less busy in the studio. Colts had 14 games competitively.
That's it?
Out of 16-player tournaments in the entire world. 6 weeks into this next one, into this past data slate. 14 competitive games in 6 weeks in the world. Insanity. Okay? I think that when we start to move away and start to classify and we start to declassify teams and all that kind of stuff, if a team is like, oh yeah, you had it for 4 years, that should have been enough. Yeah, but I only got to play the team twice when it was good or it was okay. Otherwise, every other time it sucked or it was overpowered.
Okay.
How is that fair? We're not a card game in the end, right? We're not. But some teams I think should go because there are some teams that just are not played. My positive outlook on this is that by the end of the next 4 years, we will, if we have the same release schedule as the last edition, we will have between 64 to 72 teams at the end of this next edition, right? Possibly. We're looking in that range, right? Because we had 32 teams released, possibly 32, maybe some more White Dwarfs or whatever else comes out, right? So we're asking the balance team, however many people that is, to balance 72 teams every quarter. That's insane. Actively insane. You know?
Right. They're going to have to miss something if that was the case.
Yeah.
That's too many.
It is too many. Way too many. So I don't think that we should be living. I have a communications degree. I graduated college, soft flex, with communications degree. And there is a fallacy in arguments where you're providing an ultimatum to players. You're providing an ultimatum to people. Hey, this is how the world is going to work. This is how it's going to work. These teams are going away, right? Okay, well, is there a road that we can take less traveled instead of just allowing everything or allowing some?
Right.
Right? So I think we're going to talk about that a little later and kind of like my proposed possible fix for this. Did that sway anyone? Or are you guys just like Dakotah just likes to hear himself talk?
I mean, I think you make some convincing arguments there. There's definitely like I think that we need to take a look at the teams. Not all of my events, I can say, are going to be classified or declassified. Maybe I'll do partial classified. Maybe there'll be teams that are old and not played, or like haven't been balanced properly with how the meta has changed. And we'll say, hey, we're not going to allow these because we want people who are playing a competitively focused game here, so that's a classified one. Maybe we'll do another like a weird tag team event, and it'll be fully open or only declassified teams, So I think that there's like a lot of leeway on how us as independent tournament organizers run our stuff, because we're not beholden to anyone except for our communities to make them happy and make sure that they have a good time.
How about you, Matt?
Yeah. No, I mean, I guess my thing is I look at where we've been and what we have more than what we don't have, kind of. So I started playing 40K in 3rd edition, and that was a time when your codex dropped, and that's it, man. Like, that's your team for like 5-6 years.
Remember Necrons in 3rd edition?
Yeah, no balanced data sheets ever. Like, what you got is what you got. And, yeah, but I mean, you point out like Hero Tech, right? But seriously, they had like a good slope where like they started and then they got better, and then they kind of are where they are now, where they kind of hit that dip. And that's fine. I mean, I think, and if you look at all the other teams, really, so many teams just come out pretty balanced or just need a tweak here or two, and then are able to run with it. It's definitely weird. Like, Crew never got anything, right? Like,
they got a lot of stuff. They just got all the wrong stuff.
It just never
right. Yeah. And I mean, you can make that argument for the Casterkins too, right? Like, they got stuff too. And I just think it's difficult to balance that many teams and to kind of just retire some after a while, especially because they're telling you like 2 years in advance, right? Like, we know 2 years in advance, Vet Guard's going away. So you can say, well, I'll keep playing them while I can, or maybe I'll switch to one of these new teams. Maybe I'll start playing Vespids or something.
Ew, gross.
All right, I guess you'll play the Aquilons.
No, those are nasty.
He also
too.
doesn't
have
like
ovaries on their back.
He don't like any of these.
What are you
teams.
talking about?
Dang, Ventguard's not coming back.
Well, hopefully,
I know, but that's okay. I think that they won't have Kill Team without a guard.
You're going to need a guard team. Yeah, you're going to need a guard team. Aquilons. I'm kidding.
Just like people get a new Orcs team to replace Commandos.
Absolutely.
And there's always going to be a Chaos team and always an Eldar team. Like, that's just... So, like, I don't think it's that bad that they're retiring teams. I think it'll also evolve the meta in interesting ways, too. Yeah. Because as certain teams drop off, if they're, crushing the meta and then they're gone, like, that'll force everyone kind of adapt to a new meta.
Here's a different take, a toxic take.
Ooh.
Okay. What if we see more boxes come out that are unbalanced, and then every single tournament is just Brood Brothers and Nemesis Claw, or Brood Brothers and Mandrakes, the past 4 boxes, and you just see, for instance, Brood Brothers are the most played team by far in the game right now. Nemesis Claw, I thought was going to take it, right? Brood Brothers are way, way, way too popular and way, way, way too good. And I think that we run into a toxic dilemma of we continually have to push this sales strategy to sell more boxes in order to propagate the competitive game when we're not a card game.
I think that part of the appeal of Brood Brothers is big monster go nom, realistically. A lot of my community,
burn them all.
They just want to play a big old monster, big old Tyrannid that eats other stuff, and that's really cool to them. Obviously, like, some of the top level players have picked it up too, but the vast majority, they just want to play it because they want that big bug to eat people. Mm-hmm. So
from a tournament, so I've spoke a lot from Dakotah's standpoint,
right?
From squad game standpoint, from more of like a tournament organizer standpoint, I'll say that I'd be worried about the retention of players, because that's ultimately what we're all worried about. We all want players to keep coming back to our events, people to have fun, right? And for me, doing that is
paramount.
Oh, yeah, it is. It is the most important thing. And ensuring that I think the community sentiment is echoed. And we see a lot of loud voices on the internet right now. Every competitive player I've talked to, they're like, yeah, screw the teams, kill them. I'm just going for the next one. But the majority of players that are out there are worried about the direction of the game, right?
Yeah, a majority of the casual players I'm usually playing with are scared, like, so am I going to lose these rules? I just bought novitiates. Like, that gives them worries because they're also going to be moving the boxes to regular 40K. And, I don't know if people fully remember that that's going to happen. So you can still buy them. They just might not have the packaging, so people might not know it's there. And I get it, like I would be afraid if something I just bought immediately goes away and it's worthless. Like, why would you want that, right? Yeah, sure, it might only be $60, but I don't want to throw away $60. So just making sure that they're secured with what they're going to be, what the purchase is secure, and they can keep playing. If GW can give you that reassurance, then I think that's going to be okay.
Yeah, sometimes somebody has a kid in their first year, and then they can't start playing Kill Team for 2 years or 3 years, and then their investment is bad. But also, like, the other thing that you have to remember is that there are 3 teams currently that are old that are going to get axed with classified tournaments, not declassified. Remember, every tournament has the option to run declassified as well, right? It's up to the TOs to decide how they want to run the tournaments. It's not up to Games Workshop, right? It's up to your local tournament organizer. That's the most important thing to remember. Like, if you want to run declassified tournaments in your area, tell your TOs and they will run declassified tournaments. Otherwise, you're not going to show up, right?
True.
But there are 3 teams that are by far the most popular teams, and retention, like I said, is paramount, right? So over 1/3 of all games were played on 3 teams last season. Commandos, Intercession,
Naturally,
and Legionary.
Yep.
Right? Intercession's not even in the slate. We'll have to see where they pop up. I think people are assuming they're going to be coming out as the Angels of Death, right?
I think they have to. There's no way GW is going to release a game without Space Marines.
At all, yeah.
Or Orcs.
That's got to be like a Space Marine 2 tie-in, some
Oh,
sort. Like people like they want to play their game. They want to get them like from the game into the game. Like they want to play whatever their 6 classes are in the game on the tabletop. So or something similar.
But
my thought there.
Like, here's my thoughts on what you're saying. Like, so I'm for classified, but just understand, like, my local events and even Nova, I might run, there's a very good chance they'll be just declassified just because you're right. It's more all inclusive, but I think you're going to see a natural progression away from the declassified teams. So like you were talking about the competitive players, right? So anyone who has their eye on going to Worlds, they're not going to play a declassified team or a team that's going to be declassified because they're not going to do the reps for a team for a year. And then right before they go to Worlds, that team goes away.
Right.
So those people are naturally just going to play the teams that have longevity. And then I have a hunch that while GW says those teams will still, quote unquote, be playable and they'll update them, they won't, kind of like we saw with compendium teams, like Demons never got a balance. We saw one for Custodes. But in the end, people started just gravitating away from them, even though, Demons, Custodes aren't bad teams. They're strong teams. And I would say they're stronger than some box teams that came out. But people still moved away from them. And I think, if I don't know about you guys, but if I were to say at Nova, this year we banned Compendium, right? I think that would have impacted maybe 2 or 3 people at this point.
I would agree.
And I can definitely see that as we approach kind of the year mark where the first year of teams go away, that people are naturally going to move away from those teams. And I don't think it's going to impact as many people as we think it is.
I would say competitive players are, but I do still think the majority of players that come to LVO are not in that top 3%, right? Because the people that get golden tickets are 3%. The people that are probably actively searching them out are probably 15% of the meta, maybe 20, maybe 20, right? the other 60% of players, I'd say probably 20% only come to one tournament a year.
Yeah.
Right. If that. And then I would say maybe like 20% of players come to many tournaments of the year. And then the other 20-ish percent, 25% never, maybe even 40% of players never come to tournaments.
But I guess my point is, of that 85%, how many of them are still exclusively playing compendium teams?
Right, exactly. Like, I think any player I know has at least 3 teams, right? Like, they start with one, they go, I really like this look, oh, I like that one. So they start buying them. So you're going to naturally have new stuff anyways.
Right, and I think that's what we're going to see. Because, I mean, the credit to GW, they're releasing cool teams, right? Like, they're cool, and the models look awesome for the most part. And so you're going to want to start a new team. And I just think I think people who are going to be left out in the cold, again, I don't foresee banning declassified anytime soon, unless, like Tyler was saying, we really start seeing some real disparity and balance and stuff. And there's like, well, this team isn't being balanced anymore. We have to ban it. But I don't see that many people in a year time being as impacted as they are, let's say, if it was happening today, which I think is smart strategy for GW, is why it's not happening for another year.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think I'm still overall, I am more happy about this change because it gives us as TOs more power over our own tournaments. We can decide after a year, because nothing matters for a year. We're talking a year in advance. But a lot of my tournaments, we have to plan a year in advance. So like people are like, why are you talking about this? Like, this doesn't matter. It's like, well, we're just about an All Valley team tournament this year, right? Almost. But LVO's coming up, which is like heavily on our minds, and we're already thinking about next LVO because it feels like I just got back from last LVO. Every time I go, I get scarred. It's like another lashing. Like, oh,
it's just January
again, please. But yeah, I think it's important for us as TOs and as the greater community to think ahead. But moving to this real quick, we do see. If no one understands even what classified means, I guess we should have started off with that. Classified means that certain teams will not be available to be played in classified tournaments, mainly GW tournaments. Those are going to be classified at the end of, or at the beginning of 2026. So at the beginning of 2026, Commandos will be boxed in 40K. So you can still buy the team and play them, but you're not going to actively
look for it. It's not advertised in the orange packaging.
Correct. And then we have the Death Corps, right? Which is not called Veteran Guard anymore. Maybe Veteran Guard's going to come out in a different thing,
Oh, that could.
It could be. We have Novitiates, Pathfinders. Thank goodness they're going away. Legionaries. We have Corsair Void Scarred, Blooded Phobos Strike Team, Void Dancer Troop, Warp Coven, Wormblade, Hunterclade, Gellerpox Infected, and Starstriders. When we look at everyone who's going to be allowed to play in 2026 that they have released thus far, we have Angels of Death, which no one knows what that is, Imperial Navy Breachers, Farstalker Kinband, Kasserkin, Hierotech Circle, Exaction, Hand of the Archon, Felgor, Hearthkin Salvagers, Chaos Cult, Inquisitorial Agents, Blades of Cain, Scout Squad, Nemesis Claw, Mandrakes, Brood Brothers, Harnkin Jaegers, Tempestus, Aquilions, and Vespid Stingwings, and future released this season / redacted.
Cool.
So,
that's still quite a lot of teams that you're still going to have next year that you can already own right now.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Ton.
Yeah.
More than half,
Yeah.
It is. And also, we don't know if more teams are going at the end of next year, or we don't know anything else outside of this, right? We're gonna. Who knows? Who knows what's going to happen, right? They could just be getting rid of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 teams. It's a lot of teams.
It's a lot of teams.
It is a lot of teams. Some of these teams I'm happy to see go. What's mainly just Pathfinders.
Yeah. Good riddance.
I think. Yeah, good riddance.
Maybe they'll come back redesigned.
It's also hard to think that, we won't have Kill Team without another Pathfinders team.
Right. You need to have more, because Tau doesn't really have Tau. They have the auxiliary now, but a proper Tau team.
I think looking at this, we could also possibly guess what some of the upcoming teams would be, right? We could see an orc team. We could see a guardsman team.
Mm-hmm.
We could see
Like a sisters team.
a sisters team, a Tau team, another chaos. Please, more chaos.
Yep, absolutely. I think we'll see. So my personal predictions, I think that we'll see some kind of like a weird Imperial Guard.
Mm-hmm.
I think that we'll see another orc one. I heard rumors about that 2 years ago from a source of mine, so I believe them. They were accurate with the, Into the Dark. So, it's coming. Orcs are coming. And then I think that we'll get like Grey Knights and Dark Mech is probably like my other pick. And then I think the last box will probably be like Sisters of Battle and Tyranids.
Okay.
Okay.
I don't think Tyranids fit. Dakotah, you and I share that opinion in Kill Team, but I think that they're coming, whether we want them or not.
Okay, that's fair. I'd love to see a Lictor team.
I think that would
be the coolest
sense, right?
team.
So
them and Gene Stealers.
Gene Stealers stock. Those are the ones that stock the stuff. So feels right.
Yeah. So I think that the classified stuff is a really hot topic button. And if anyone wants to put their own thoughts, make sure you put it in the comments of our YouTube channel or go into our Discord. And we have a whole area about the podcast that you can just spam your thoughts and tell us how much you like any of our takes.
Or you want to, exactly.
Or if you have your own thoughts. I have an alternative.
All right. What's your alternative?
I'm going to, at the end of LVO and at the end of every single one of my events, I'm going to have a standard form that players fill out. One of which is going to be a multiple choice thing where you say, next time at our next event, do you want to see a classified, declassified, or partial classified event? Right? And I think that I'm just going to gather as much statistics as possible to people who are coming to the tournament and see what they say. And kind of go with the community, because as much as I have an opinion, as much as Squad Games or Games Workshop has an opinion, the only opinion that matters is the community's, right? We are going to do what you want, right? Maybe not everyone. We can't appease everyone, okay? So don't burn me at the stake for that statement. I've already been clipped. Already been clipped.
Out of context, Dakotah.
It's the best Dakotah though. But like one of my thoughts for a partial, right, is we would have teams under a certain percentage of play rate in the declassified area would be pulled out. So if commandos continually see a 7-8% play rate or a 6% play rate throughout this entire thing, then perhaps they stick around until the very end. They come to every single tournament, right? I will make stats public all the time. So if anyone else is looking into that kind of stuff, we will make sure that the popularities of teams are available so everyone can see them. And we will continually make content on how well teams are doing in the meta, right? And Matt, you are correct. The more time that goes by, the more teams that are out, play rates will drop, right? For every team, right? The more teams that are out there, and play rates will drop when some tournaments obviously do classified, but I'm definitely not in the thought process that it's just 100% every tournament is going to be classified. That's not going to happen.
Right. No, I don't think so at all.
100%.
Yeah.
I mean, I would put money that 99% of local tournaments are going to run declassified just because they're trying to catch as big as net as possible. I don't know. From my experience, most local tournaments don't sell out, right? So they're like, we want people to come. And even, like you said, kind of us with some of the independent stuff, like, we're probably going to run declassified. Also, I could see doing a separate declassified events at like Nova, like we did a compendium event this year.
Declassified only.
Ooh, playing old school legacy format.
That's like 4 years down the line.
Yeah, I'm definitely lucky because I have like 2 Novas before these start going into effect.
Yeah,
easy.
Yeah. It's going to be. It's a long time. I mean, you will have to decide probably after the first Nova.
Yes, yeah, you're right. After the first Nova. But still, I don't have to decide for the second Nova, I guess, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I feel like also as time goes on, it's going to be harder and harder because sure, after that year, we're going to only have 14 teams go away. But then, if they do this again, we would have more teams. And who knows?
Another 15, 14,
exactly.
whatever. So.
Yeah. And if we're going to have to see, right?
I think the one option they might do when it comes to classified and declassified is like, you think of the models and how they play in 40K, right? Like Cascadia, for example, absolutely going to go away. I feel it, right? I mean, it says it there. But also, like, it would make sense to repackage that as a Imperial Guard box.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's an elite choice. Mm-hmm. Like, sure, that makes sense. Maybe, for example, Hydrotech Circle won't, because you can't really put that in 40K.
Or Corsairs.
Yeah, you're right. Or Corsairs. Like, right, they're kind of individually, they're not necessarily part of the army, right? They're not special forces. It's just a guy with a bunch of his goons. That's fine, right? Mm-hmm. So maybe those teams persist because of the way they can release it, because it can only really exist as a product of Kill Team. Like Felgor, in my opinion, could exist that way because they're not really like, they're in chaos, but they're not really like, who's taking Felgor in their armies,
Yeah, I mean, they would never sell. It's just kind of like the Corsairs. The Corsairs last edition for 40K were a joke.
It was like, here you go, you can play it in the game at least.
You can literally take an entire team of Corsairs and you will not be a viable team.
At all. With 2,000
like in 40K, that's how it was for Corsairs. So could they be a permanent, do you guys think that they would be a permanent mainstay? Do you think that some of these teams, I personally think Commandos are the legitimate perfect kill team. I think they are.
I'd second it with Legionary, but yeah.
I mean, like, Commandos have been the perfect kill team since launch, basically. It took forever for anyone to realize that they really needed to be touched, and then we all panicked about how bad they needed to be fixed, and then they still did great. So, Commandos are, like, the kill team. That and Corsairs, like, they basically sat at 50% win rate since launch, perfectly balanced, as all things should be.
Nice.
Yeah, I think Novitiates are also up there because those seem like actual just made for kill team.
Right, you're not going to run Novitiates and your Sisters of Battle.
Phobos, Pathfinders, Legionaries.
Those all
these teams armies. Are like blase 40K things. So even Veteran Guard, the Krieg, right? I dislike Krieg personally. That's why all my guys are not Krieg. But the same thing, right? They are not just a stereotypical just straight kill team.
In the reverse of that, because Deathwatch just died, I could eventually see Deathwatch come to Kill Team because their model range is only 4 units.
We can hope.
That's it. You have the Deathwatch Kill Team, the leader, the other named character, and the Corvus Blackstar. I'm not going to count the upgrade sprue.
It's wild that the Deathwatch Kill Team isn't in Kill Team.
Yeah.
I mean, it was the same thing with Grey Knights. I mean, what is there, like 3 or 4, boxes in that line
Purifier,
as well?
Purifier, Terminators, the Carrier, Grandmaster, Drago.
Yeah.
The other guy with the sword. Yeah. Crow.
Yeah. I mean, like, Grey Knights would be a perfect box. Like, give them like, you can, one box builds all of their combos. Give them an upgrade sprue of bigger legs. Call it a day.
Well, I think some of these things are probably logistical issues from Games Workshop as well. So if we think about it in general as well, like they're making a brand new factory, right?
Yeah,
they're opening up a brand new factory, and like we're seeing, them expanding and getting more third-party games. But when that's happening, we're seeing things like Grey Knights and the Death Watch and other teams, falling away, right? And like I'm sure they're a company that can't do everything, so they have to cut back on certain things
eventually, right? Because I mean, how much does it cost to keep a vat heated for that long, right?
No idea.
Probably expensive over time, right? Mm-hmm. Not to mention how many times you have to create like the mold injector for the sprues after they go bad. Who knows how expensive that is, right? We don't have their finances, so I'm sure they have to make the decision to go, I can't really afford this. In terms of not selling you the plastic, in more of the logistical side of just making it might be hard, and so we have to cut this,
And that's the two things we got to remember. One is that we got teams that not necessarily were in boxes. So I could definitely see GW just releasing rules for some teams with no models, like they did with Warp Coven and all the White Dwarf ones, or put it in an annual or something like that. But also, I mean, at the end of the day, they're a company that's going to want to make money. So even if everyone's playing Commandos but no one's buying Commandos, right? Like that doesn't help them. So they're going to want to move us away from that. At the end of the day, they want us buying new teams, like, because that's how they make money. And so, and if let's be honest, if we all stop buying new teams, they would kill Team altogether, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So, you know, I think that they'll definitely support teams that people want. Like I said, I think we'll see like a New Orcs. You know, we'll see. You're right. I think some of these teams will get some kind of replacement. Might not be 1-to-1, but I think we'll see, you know, something cool. Like again, like very few teams were released where everyone was like, this team looks terrible and I don't want to play it. Right? Like even there's diehard Crew players out there, which is just crazy to think about.
Or S tier Exaction Squad players.
Those guys are so brave.
They are brave. Brave little space cops. I'm overall also excited about these changes. While I may not agree with the concept of classified in a miniatures game, I think there is something interesting to think about. Just like I don't agree with pods at a large scale, Matt, you know, I don't agree with it, but that's okay because every tournament can and should be different. If every tournament was the same, why would we ever travel? Why would we go anywhere? Because it'll be boring.
Right. It's not a new experience.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, like LVO is a 3-day, 9-round Swiss tournament because we have so many dang players
in Vegas. So you have other things to do outside of the tournament too.
Yeah.
Right.
Kill Scream is an amazing event. This year, you guys popped up to 7 rounds with wrestling,
with a convention too.
We got other games going on, painting classes, vendor hall. We got a wrestling event going on, thrown on by one of our vendors. So it should be really exciting, you know. And then we do like kind of like a little narrative thing for people who aren't going for the golden ticket top placing on our last day. So.
Then you had KTO, which is rest in peace. You know, who knows if they ever come back? But
that was unique in a mansion.
It was in a
catered,
mansion,
and there was drinks
it was
everywhere.
The first kill team only event. You know, it's probably a reason why they only lasted for 2 years.
I know. It's also hard to get.
You got to be a little bit bigger than that. You know,
you got to try. You got to do something.
I think we know kill team doesn't pay the bills.
It's like going to a concert, right? Like if the musician, you know.
You guys aren't rich off Kill Team yet, also?
No. I wish, dude.
I mean, I retired this year. This is my fault. No, I wish.
This is our labor of love, you know? Yeah. Like we're all fans of the game and fans of the community that come around. I meet some interesting people to come to tournaments or LVO. It's always exciting to, you know, meet someone else. It's like, oh, I know you. I've heard your voice before. Oh, thanks. What do you do? Oh, you know, I'm like a nuclear scientist. Wow. Or something, you know? It's so exciting.
Yeah. I didn't know. I'm not allowed to talk about it, but I work for Edwards Air Force Base. Oh,
okay, cool.
Okay, that's fair.
The R9X. No, I forget who makes that missile. It doesn't matter.
And then you have like Nova, who I like. We've changed LVO a lot from when we started taking over because they used to have top 8 pods cut. We got rid of that, but we kept the top 8 pricing. So we gave 8 players that. And this year, we're going to expand to top 8 painting awards. So we're going to give out 8 awards for painting, 8 awards for other places, and 1st through 8th place for that kind of stuff.
And on top of the narrative, if you don't want to play as competitively.
Exactly. Matt, what do you think makes Nova special? And what do you hope on making better for Nova in the future? Because that is an event that I do like to attend. I like to see everyone on the East Coast. I like to see you, you know, and I do thoroughly enjoy the event.
One of the things, you know, I was a longtime attendee of Nova before I started running Kill Team. And I think one of the great things is how much there is going on. Like there is just an insane amount of events going on. There's a million classes. There's every seems like almost every miniature game system out there, there's demos of third-party games. And I think that diversity is really good. And that's kind of what I go for the Kill Team. This year we had the GT, but we also had a teams tournament. We had a narrative event. We ran a compendium event. Just kind of wherever you are in the hobby and in the game, there's something for you is kind of the goal there. And that's definitely what I want to expand upon next year for sure, is just, whatever you like to do, just come on and you'll have a good time. And, like take our narrative event, like it's not even a tournament because we don't do BCP pairings. We don't really score wins, but you're running special ops for the 40K narrative games and influencing those, kind of what Kill Team should be. And they're almost all asymmetrical missions where, there's a legit attacker and defender, and, we try to make really cool terrain sets. And at the end of the day, the goal there is just to have fun. Like, it's whether you win or lose, it's like there's going to be some epic, cool things happening. But then, of course, we have the GT, which is really a hardcore kind of competitive event with a golden ticket on the line. So yeah, I think that's where I want to go with it, and that's where I want to continue to go, is just kind of appealing to everybody, like do something that makes someone happy, kind of thing.
That's good to have. Yep. Yeah. Because some, like me personally, I'm not the greatest player. I'm all right. But I like painting. So if I know that there's some kind of painting competition, you can bet your ass I'm going to go to it, because that's what I like to do with the hobby. Mm-hmm. So
that's why you got to come to Nova next year. You got to kick my ass.
There you go. Yeah. We could have some fun with that.
Yeah, and we partner with you guys to do the hobby track again, the same thing, just to get those people who love the hobby in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, nothing wrong with that. Mm-hmm. And find what you like. Go do that thing, and hopefully these big events can have that. So.
Mm-hmm. Tyler, outside of that, what is making Killscream, so impressive? And I know you haven't been able to learn from your experiences in Killscream this year, but what have you learned thus far for Killscream for this year, and what are you looking to add next year to make it even better?
So, we do a lot of interesting stuff. Like, we have a bounty board, for those of you who don't know about our events, which is kind of how we drive charity donations. And it's like a mini game we strap on top of a standard game of Kill Team. So that's one of the things that we've been doing that really kind of sets our events apart. And really it's about getting, like Matt said, people excited about the games, getting people who necessarily aren't going for that golden ticket, who know that they'll never make it up there, getting them engaged and getting them to play through all of the events, making sure that they stay there and they want to come back, and that they're bonding with the community, that they're finding ways to engage in the hobby that speaks to them, whether it's painting or, just playing a casual game and coming up with a narrative story in their head, and feeling like they're being rewarded and participating in the greater community is really kind of what we focus on up here. And that really drives our engagement.
I think we're quite lucky to work with FLG on two of the bigger events. They already had a lot of following, so it's easy to kind of maintain that status of having the largest event. They also have quite a large amount of players that come to those events already. So we're kind of set to be that standard, and kind of, I think me and Giacomo really take that where we really want to lead by example, right? We don't want 4-hour rounds, to happen at our events. We really want to make sure that our event is as competitive, as sportsmanship friendly, and it is as hobby friendly as possible. And I want to reiterate about the classified and declassified. Your voice as a player that comes to events in general matters. Mm-hmm. Okay. If you don't like classified tournaments, don't go to them. If you only like classified tournaments, go to them, right? Speak up, tell your local community organizers, tell us in the comments, or on our Discord or Cascadia's Discord. Matt, is there a place that you call home in any of the Discords?
Mostly I'm on the Command Point Discord.
Okay.
But I'm kind of on pretty much on everyone's at this point.
Yeah,
I'm kind of all over the place, and I'm on Facebook. But yeah, like even like Nova, we do a survey at the end of every year. And I absolutely read all the comments, read all the scoring, and adjust things accordingly.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's one of the things I noticed that's been the best. You took a lot of feedback last year, and you changed Nova quite a bit this year.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. But just make sure that if you stay silent and you sulk or you don't say anything or you don't buy kill team models and you just leave the game, right? That's not what Games Workshop wants, and that's not what we want, right? We are very passionate individuals here on this podcast about Kill Team.
Yeah, absolutely.
We are so passionate that we forego playing the game to host tournaments so that you guys can come. Okay.
I haven't been to regular LVO in like 4 years. Mm-hmm. I just help out all the time now, which I'm okay with. Because if I'm watching everybody on stream having a good time playing the game, the Twitch is having a good time watching the game, that makes me happy. Mm-hmm. I'm excited for everybody else to have a good time.
Mm-hmm. It takes some special people. I only get to play in my basement here.
Yeah, this is it. When we record on
California is not allowed basements. We're not in a basement.
No, yeah, we're in a bunker.
Yeah, somewhere. But I think that this is a really important conversation that I hope doesn't go away or doesn't get buried. Right? I think that classified is good. But I think that we should think about it in moderation. I think we should think about it as whole. And I don't think that we should think the sky is falling, right? 100% the sky is not falling. I think Kill Team is bigger and better than it ever has been. Amen. And there's a lot more teams coming. Like, who knows what if Commandos get re-released, everyone? Right. Has anyone thought of that? What if Vet Guard get re-released? And then, screw, I was.
Oh, what if it does, but it's re-released as Catachan or something?
Don't.
What if they could release a new?
I will drop any and every team to play Catachan. I will drop anything to play my muscular men. Okay?
Catachan first box next season.
Yeah. I want to see the muscles. I want some 90s action hero boys running around chopping people's heads off. Yeah, hell yeah. It's almost as good as Banana Bread. But I know that this podcast isn't going to get seen everywhere. I know that we're relatively speaking to the same, 3,000, 4,000 people every time that we release a podcast, right? And if you're one of those people, do realize that, we do hear your voices, right? Unfortunately, the Games Workshop's model is not a democracy.
Right. They're a corporation. They got to make money.
I don't think squats ever would have been killed if that was the case.
Right.
But do realize that there are people just like you, which are us, right, that care about the longevity and care about tournaments and care about each and every one of you as well. So do keep that in mind before you think the sky is falling.
Yeah, I think that just in general, we need to keep that in perspective. Every time news comes out about the game, people act like the sky's falling. New team comes out, everyone says, oh, they're going to be overpowered. It's the end of the world. Oh, my team got nerfed. It's the end of the world. It's just a game. Let's all have fun. Let's make some friends. And, if
Pathfinders get re-released, I am going to rage. And if Felgor get re-released, I am going to rage. And then I'll frenzy and I'll die.
Felgor are going to get re-released, but they're going to take away all of their nerfs. They're just going to be in their original state again.
Oh yeah,
finally.
Yeah. Giga Chad Goat Hulks.
Yeah.
What is that? What is that line? Toby Maguire is bit by a spider, but I was bit by a goat.
That's right.
Yeah. It's an Eminem song right there.
We were listening to it yesterday.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. Greatest of all time. If anyone didn't catch it, but yeah. Interesting thing. Volcus looks pretty cool. Looks pretty fun.
Yep.
Interesting to see how the terrain shakes out for the next edition. And I think in general, we're really excited for the next edition. Everything that they've been releasing looks great. I don't think there's anything that I've seen that that Warhammer's communities put out that I'm skeptical about whatsoever. So I think the future of Kill Team does look bright. But
I mean, originally this was a specialist game, right? And generally specialist games, they don't get like the most amount of support. Mm-hmm. So to see Kill Team get as much support as it is, because people like the game, they like owning a skirmish game, especially as you get older, man. You don't always have time to play like big stuff because you have to assemble it and put it together. But you can manage 12 models.
Yeah.
So
I definitely think that Kill Team is moving further and further away from a specialty game.
Right, and becoming
Agreed.
more. I would say maybe the fourth main game, right behind Lord of the Rings, because there is a huge Lord of the Rings community.
We just got a hardbound book with this edition announced. I mean, like that means that like we're legit in their eyes.
Yeah.
You
I'm not gonna lie, I'm gonna buy the hardbound book.
Heck yeah.
Me
Be
too.
like, just like that.
Then I'm gonna go get it spiral bound.
Yeah. Rip this out.
And then in 4 years, I'll sell it on eBay.
Yeah.
Signed with all the TOs throughout the years. Like it's special. It has all the history on it, you know?
Exactly.
One only exists.
Yeah. What are you guys going to do with all your old Kill Team books?
I don't know. I mean, I still have some of my first edition books sitting on the shelf over
Oh
there.
my god, do we?
Not on the shelf.
Not on the shelf.
They're in a
So,
box.
I mean, you should just throw them. I mean, let's be honest. You should just throw them in the trash. Like that's what should happen to them. But you just can't bring yourself to do it. So you hold on to it.
You're not wrong.
Do you still have Shadow War Armageddon? Because I still have Shadow War Armageddon. Right before Kill Team 2018 dropped, they're like, Shadow War Armageddon. The store owner was like, are you sure you want to buy this? Isn't there a new one coming out? And I bought it anyways. And like a month later it came out. So it was cool.
I still have all my arena stuff. Like,
Dude, Arena was so good. though.
Such a good one.
sometimes I get lucky and I'll find someone on like one of the Facebook groups who's like, I really want the last edition books and stuff. Anybody have it? I'm like, yes, take them. Like just pay for shipping and I'll send them to you. But yeah, sadly, I'll probably hold on to them for a while until I can find someone to give them to or sell them to.
Yeah, just don't give them to Sheldon. I think he has enough of them.
He has too many.
Yeah, he does.
Shout out to Sheldon for helping us make this happen.
Sheldon.
All the way in the past.
Yeah. That's Kill Team Stream. If anyone hasn't seen Kill Team Stream recently, he is streaming Space Marine 2 basically nonstop.
Yeah, he's been going at it.
He is a great guy. You guys should go check out his Twitch and follow him. He's an amazing person, and he's done Kill Team great things. So if you are somebody who really likes Kill Team and really likes Kill Team lore, right? Sheldon is one of the very few people that has been there from the beginning. He's no longer a TO, and he's moved over to playing games. So you guys should go help support him in his new endeavors. He also does still stream games, but he is streaming Space Marine 2 a lot.
Yep,
so
that's the big thing right now.
Go check out Sheldon. He's a great person.
Great guy.
Great guy to help support. So is there anything that you guys want to shout out specifically or talk about before we start wrapping up here?
I would love to plug CritCon and Killscream 3.
Mm-hmm. When is that happening?
October 4th, 5th, and 6th in Portland, Oregon. You can go to cascadiatabletop.com. It has all the information you need to buy tickets. There's also a link to discounted rooms on the Killscream listing. So you get a room right across the street and then walk to the event. Portland's a great town. We'd love to have you all out. Best pizza anywhere in the United States.
Oh, that's a big
really?
claim.
Yeah.
That's a hot take right there. That belongs
East Coast.
I'll fight you guys with at Kill Team about it.
Or will you wrestle us?
Oh,
Fake.
We're giving away a big old belt like we do. This whole season was themed around wrestling, so this will be the last belt we give away. We got Josh with 2 of our large belts, and then Brandon Bing coming back with his sword, also to defend his title. So it's going to be a good time. And then you guys should also, I think this will be out, Monday? So that'll be the last Tuesday. Oh, well, never mind. My shirts will have just closed on pre-order then. So if you missed out, dicethrower.bigcartel.com. I'm always dropping stuff on there.
Are you going to have more shirts on the way soon?
I will. I'm going to have a Kill Team specific shirt here soon once we get the pre-order announced. So,
all right. So they'll have a chance to get that.
Yeah,
that is
absolutely.
Fair. I have something that I would also like to show if I can find it. Yeah. My thing is not close to here.
Yeah.
Unfortunate.
I also have to plug my podcast, Vox Cascadia. You
Absolutely.
guys should listen to me. So we're not as serious as some of the other ones, but a little more serious than Kill Team Casuals. So
that's fair. I've heard Kill Team Casuals. I've listened to them lately. They're getting more and more competitive.
I mean,
shout out to Ben Campbell, who just won a golden ticket.
For real.
See you in Atlanta, my guy. Let's go. You won with Nemesis Claw. You won with an elite team. Everyone says they're bad. I believe. Let's go.
There you go.
His path to victory was crazy. Oh man,
It was.
He had it hard, and he deserves it. Way to go, Ben. Not so Kill Team casuals anymore.
Yeah, for Gondor. You know?
What does he play?
He plays Bjorn.
He plays Bjorn. In Lord of the Rings,
he
right?
plays a bunch of like weird people in the woods.
But he has a big bear, so
yeah,
that's cool.
yeah. The bear's cool. The bear's cool. But yeah, sorry, Tyler. Go for it.
Oh, I just said y'all should listen to Vox Cascadia. That's really it. We talk about Kill Team kind of and other stuff like which Primarchs would be good to date.
I remember that one.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's one of my favorites. So.
So when you guys decided CritCon, I remember you guys had an episode where you're like, we're going to do Chucky Con instead and have our own like thing. Did you guys kind of like get inspired by that, or was that always kind of in the works where you were going to do?
So Chucky Con was kind of a thing, like that was just like Chuck's like little thing. Basically, like when we were scouting out places for Killscream, we were blessed with a very large space at a pretty reasonable price. And we thought, well, shoot, we should include some other games in this and kind of turn it into a convention. Maybe the Pacific Northwest that someday, CritCon could be its own Nova, like major goals. That's way down the line. Like it's not that right now. Like we're super, super indie and people should expect that. But like, it'll grow and it'll become its thing. And, every year it'll develop. So we're really excited to start this adventure with it. So
amazing. Yeah, we're hoping for something similar for the All Valley Team Tournament, but we're gonna one day expand to more games outside of just Kill Team. We'll have other teams,
other things.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
How about you, Matt? Anything you want to shout out, brother? Or talk about?
Nova's like 51 weeks away, so and registration's not quite up yet for it. I guess the only thing I'll actually shout out and say is, over the next few weeks, GW is going to kind of trickle rules at us and just everyone relax, right? Like, it's not worth getting worked up over something that we're only seeing a very small piece of.
Or partial rule of. Yeah.
Right. Let's just
an Exaction Squad. They say something about Exaction Squad. I didn't even look at it.
The picture today, right?
There's something happening.
And we just don't know. And, they're real good about keeping everything buttoned up, but we'll just hold judgment until we actually see a full rule set, full team sets. And then we can, and even wait until you get to play some games. Mm-hmm. And see how everything shakes out, and then jump on the internet and yell and scream and have your catharsis. But I really can't impress upon that. It just seems like we have a lot of people getting a lot of rage over a very, very incomplete picture that that GW's given us right now.
Yeah, I think that's really, definitely something that's understated. We have this game looks to be great, looks to be huge, right? And we're seeing such small bits of it. And who knows when pre-orders is going to come out? Usually they announce them on Monday?
Usually 2 weeks before it releases?
Saturday. Yeah. And then
Sunday's pre-orders day.
Sundays.
Okay.
So on a Sunday at some point in time, they'll announce it. And then that everyone will have all the rules by that next Saturday, right? We just have to be patient, which not a lot of us
promise it will eventually release.
It's going to be here before we even know it. We're going to blink and it's going to be pre-order week and we're all going to be losing our minds. I think in the article today, it says it's coming really soon. So
I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, what did the last edition of 40K have? Did it have a 2-week or 3-week pre-order?
I think
2 week?
Yeah.
Was it still
Did it? No, I think 40K had a much longer release. I think it was a month to a month and a half.
Was
I
it
think
for the
AOS had 2 weeks.
Yeah. I mean, so the soonest
so.
it can come is right around 2 weeks out from the first weekend in October. So like that's the soonest we can expect it, and the latest we can expect it is probably middle of October, because it's going to launch in October. So
it could be delayed, like the
don't say that,
the Nemesis Claw box, and we might not see it to the beginning of January, and then it would screw over LVO, which would be like a great shit show.
Could you imagine just this much hopium from all the stuff they've shown for Hivestorm, just to be like, it's not coming out till January? Like the pain we'd feel.
Having to make so many objective markers.
It was crazy. Like that we knew more about Nemesis Claw before they came out than we did about Scouts. Like when they were
Yep.
Like, do you remember that? They'd given whole preview articles, and we're like, we don't know shit about this first fucking box here, you guys.
Striking Scorpion's cool. What do they do? Here's the next box. The first team to the next box.
Yeah.
That was wild.
That was wild.
That was so wild.
It was.
But on the other hand, I mean, I could see pre-orders happening the next week or two.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And have a real long lead up to it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's also an option.
It could be.
Could be a huge release.
By the time that this releases, maybe it's already happened.
It could happen.
I guess we're going to have to see.
Probably not, but we could.
Yeah, probably not. But maybe.
Hit us on a Tuesday with pre-orders, like out of nowhere, guys. Here you go.
Yeah. I would like to do a shout out real quick. For the All Valley Team Tournament, we are producing a t-shirt, a sticker, and a dice tray. If any of you want to help support Squad Games, feel free to pick it up. We are shipping them. These will go away this Friday. We have started to do drops, so we are producing stuff, and then when it's gone, it's gone. It's too hard to do pre-orders and build stuff. So now we just kind of build stuff, and then we ship it out at a specific date. So if you want to help the channel, you can go to my website.
That's Lester's Workshop.
The lasers now are up and running, so hopefully there's no problems anymore.
Thank you again for that. We appreciate the help so much.
We have our All Valley Team Tournament t-shirt, even if you can't come. It's pretty cool. The art was done by Dylan. Down out here, he owns a tattoo shop. He's a great guy.
No, he's up over there with you guys in Portland.
Yeah.
He is. Yeah,
he's up here.
He's part of your scene.
We stole him from you. So
so this package comes with 6 brand new Squad Games dice that we don't even have yet, but they are on the way. It comes with a 3-inch by 2-inch holographic sticker. We have a brand new dice tray that will hopefully be edition proof, right? It has the crit ops, kill ops, and tac ops, and CP. And then if anything else is here, we'll have it here. You can add more to it. It is all acrylic. The base is made of MDF. So this package is 100. And then if you are only interested in the dice tray, we have it for 60, or only interested in the t-shirt, it is $30.
And I want to mention that the dice tray still fits with the existing Lester's Workshop system for Kill Team.
It does.
So if you already have either scoring boards, or if you have the holder for your models, it'll connect together with magnets. So you can carry it. It's easier to stack on a table, where when you're at tournaments, you have limited space. So this is for you guys.
Absolutely. And if you guys are interested, soon we will be producing brand new tokens. We're already starting to build them and make them. But again, we're no longer doing pre-orders because that's after the laser fire. Lester's Workshop went down in a burning flame, to say the least. And it's taken me nearly a year and a half to 2 years just to get back up and running. Disappointed a lot of people with not being able to deliver some things.
Our apologies.
But we are being future-proofing of stuff.
You guys who don't do like small scale production of stuff, don't realize how difficult it can be to do that. Like the shirts, doing that has been, it's gotten a lot more popular than I ever expected it to be. And, like I'm just like one guy who has a full-time job and runs a community and stuff like that. And if shirts go out of stock, or the manufacturer is slow to ship stuff out, I'm hit by timelines and stuff outside of my control.
Absolutely.
And like small manufacturers and small community people, it's like it's a big deal for us to do a lot of this stuff sometimes, because we're doing it on top of everything else. So like making stuff is hard, and a lot of us do it because it's it's fun, and we want to make sure that like our community is represented with good quality stuff that is indicative of how good this game is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and we just, I don't really make a profit off any of these things. They just kind of help pay for tournaments.
It just comes back, and then we just kind of do it again.
Mm-hmm.
Same here.
Helps us buy cameras, helps us make better studios. Speaking of which, if you haven't seen Hobby Highlander, it is our favorite show that we produce, even more than the podcast for me. We love talking about paints. I just had a great conversation with Transatlantic Games. They are giving us, Transatlantic Games is Duncan Rhodes Too Thin Coats. They really enjoy the Hobby Highlander show. They think it's very funny. So they are sending us a bunch of stuff for the All Valley Team Tournament, and then they might be sending the channel paints as well. We will still be buying the paints, but we will use those paints to paint because Too Thin Coats has a lot of really, really good paints.
Absolutely.
AK Interactive has also supported the All Valley Team Tournament. They sent us a bunch of stuff. And we're still actively looking for more sponsors.
Yes. Some great prizes on the way for y'all at AVTT for playing the game and for painting. So, Forge Brush, bring your A game, bring a model you think is awesome. Try to win some awards. Here we go. Going for the glory and the big trophies.
Yeah. Gee, where's the anvil?
The anvil is in a different room right now somewhere.
Yeah. So it's not a done trophy, but for the Forged Brush Awards, the main,
there it is.
One of the main trophies is an anvil. And yes, it is quite heavy because it's a real anvil. But if you're interested in trying to win this bad boy, once it's finished and all pretty, come check out the Forged Brush. And this will be for the best overall winner. So, yeah, it's going to be fun.
It is.
Yeah. Until next time, everyone.
See ya.
Have a great night.
The Squad Games podcast is a production of Squad Games Entertainment. For more information on Squad Games, please visit our website at lestersworkshop.com/squad-games.